Hey collective, what is going on? Welcome into the channel. So happy to have you here always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to look at what it means to move through change, trauma, and find healing so that we can better move forward. We're going to look at that via the tarot, astrology, and any channeled messages that come through. So let's get into it. Welcome, welcome. We are going to do a new Sunday series. I've been kind of playing around with a couple different ideas, and like I said, we're gonna focus a little. There's been a lot of change going on. Let me back it up a little bit, because there's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of change, a lot of transformation. We're coming up on a full moon in Scorpio, which signifies the same thing, and full moons just amplify that energy to make those things happen. And it can be hard, right? Like, we're all going through things. Yes, maybe we kind of had those senses around the fact that it wasn't going to last or whatever. But there's also things that are changing that we're grieving, that are hard, that are really disappointing, that we so wanted to work out. And obviously, everyone's situation is going to be different as to the nature of what those dynamics are. But sometimes we go through things that are really intense, really painful for our souls, really aggressive, definitely can create some trauma, some disconnect from self. That's how Ayurveda looks at it. It's called pragya aparad. It's called the mistake of the intellect, meaning that when we disconnect from self, when we are not grounded, when we are not aligned with who and what we are and what we want, that is where that's where healing needs to take place, right? And it's not even just like pointing out the flaws, it's actually highlighting things so that we can nurture and support those areas, right? And when we're in toxic situations, dynamics that trigger a lot of trauma responses, it can be really hard to sift through and see things clearly. So what we're going to do today is just kind of look at the energy. We'll incorporate the astrology, pull some cards on how we can better move through some of these more traumatic situations, relationships that we've been involved in that are actually calling us, or like, you know, spirit, universe, God, however you understand it, is like asking us to make some changes that will better honor our heart, our mind, our soul. So I will start off with an energy cleansing, just set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out any blocks, obstacles that we might be coming into around this type of stuff. It's also a really good time to set your own intention for the reading, especially if you have come into this reading with something on your heart, on your mind, something you want spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give that over. Be open to receive. It's a great way to personalize these collective readings. And I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing, wellness, and services, information and services. If you are interested, I can totally look at your situation, where it's at, where it's headed. Or if you want more of that realignment, like I was talking about before, mind, body, soul, I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. Like I mentioned, when we're grounded in self, we're better apt to make decisions that keep us away from the toxic things in life, right? The things that really cause pain and burden to our souls, which is ideal, right? Like, we all come up against that stuff. I don't think we can necessarily avoid it, but when we strengthen ourselves, we can find better ways to navigate through. So definitely hit me up. I would love to help support whatever way possible. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being, so we may see and understand the messages clearly and help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels, Mama Love, Mama Love. All right. Got to get all the cinders off. Okay, so, I don't know, like, what? So trauma's a hard thing. It's not easy. It's not easy to go through. It's not easy to heal from. It does legit rewire our brain in a way that we are expecting or susceptible to further traumas in the future. And this is really manifesting itself in the astrology with Pluto being tensely aspected to Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith, not all bad, but she is a little wild, right? She is this quote unquote trickster energy, which kind of brings illusion into our life. And specifically right now with that tense aspect to Pluto, it's like illusion around people, situations where we can easily get manipulated. We can easily be lied to or sucked into something that really isn't in alignment with who we are and what we want. And when we get duped, so to speak, right? Like when someone is able to take advantage, it's really hard to see clearly. And it's really hard to connect with self, like I was talking about in the very beginning. Right now, Neptune is in Aries. So it is requiring us. It is requiring us, not only asking, but requiring us to believe, trust our instincts. I love this as the overarching energy of threshold, because it does mean that you're on the precipice of something really good, really powerful, even though it has been a lot to get here. And even though in some ways I'm picking up this energy of you feeling like you don't even know if you're at that threshold anyway. Like if anything, you feel like you're way back down the path and you're kind of just like, what the fuck? Like, why aren't things moving? Why am I in this, trauma cycle over and over and over again? 100%. I love this because Spirit is asking us to release, to let go. This to me is a lot about surrender, releasing what we cannot control. And when we are in spaces of trauma and healing, that is the number one thing we have to do is surrender. Because it's remembering that the only thing we can control is ourselves. We can't control how other people show up. We can't control how they express themselves or what they choose, but we can control how we respond and whether or not we want to engage. And that is that principle of release that Spirit is asking. And you know what? I'm hearing this is also like that deeper level. Right now, Pluto, moved into Aquarius back in November. Pluto governs decade-long cycles, so we're going to be in Aquarius for the next 20 years or so. And it's forcing us to release the past, i.e. things that really just aren't really lining up with us anymore, where those disconnects are being highlighted in dynamics, in relationships. Things are just feeling like they've run their course is essentially what I'm saying. And it's a really great time, even though there is a lot going on and it can feel a little bit overwhelming at the same time. It's such a great time to be able to proactively make those changes, really investigate, find out the information that you need, and then move accordingly with this manifestation. When we are holding on, when we're constantly holding on, it really makes it hard to not only let go of those people and situations, but also let go of the trauma, right? Also let go of what is essentially keeping us around. In energy healing, it's that value of where we put our mind, our thought, our energy. That's where, the connection is going to happen. So if we're constantly fixating on what happened, they did this, replaying it in our minds over and over and over again. And not that all those responses are necessarily conjured. It's not like things we're trying to do. They're things that just happen, especially when we get triggered. But the idea is to recognize it when it comes up, recognize that habit, that patterning, excuse me. I don't know why I keep saying crazy things. And flip the script, right? Tell your mind different things. That's really what manifestation is all about. It's not about scrutinizing or judging the things that we think. It's about recognizing the thoughts and then deciding whether or not we want to pick that one up. or not, right? And in an ideal world, we are present enough, we're aware enough to say, you know what, that's really just not my vibe, and I'm not going to sit here and think about all the shitty things that person did to me, which, whatever, right? Like, I think that's easier said than done. Don't like misconstrue. But it is this, what I'm hearing, especially for today, this week, as you're processing through some of the toxicity, it's unworking the consciousness or the subconscious. It's untangling is a better way to say it. Untangling the things that have built up over time, the toxicity that has been so present, the ways that, you know, it's interesting too, because like toxic energy is, in energy healing, it's like primitive, meaning that it's base instinct. It's like, you know, fight or flight. It's how we react in situations. So it's not really even, like, I can't say it's basically what I'm trying to get at is, like, as humans, we have consciousness and awareness, and we can make decisions. So when we're operating out of those base instincts, it's the most ignorant decision we can make, right? Essentially, no hate, but, and I'm not even saying that to you, but how I'm hearing it is when we are fixated, when we're focused, when we're living in that trauma over and over and over again, it pulls us into this energy where we forget about the magic of life. And that it kind of is the antithesis of what this reading is about. Yes, we have trauma, and I really do think healing is important. I came across this video this week about, I like this lady. She's kind of cool. I don't know. She's on YouTube, but basically her mantra is how you can empower yourself, how you can have confidence and courage to overcome the harder things of life. And how you can do that, the video I came across this week was like how you can do that without doing the healing, right? And I believe that that is available, and I think we can achieve, but it's going to only get us to this certain point, because when we hit certain places, then triggers come up, and then we have to, the healing is important, because if we don't have the right tools, if we don't have the right coping mechanisms, it can just drain us back into this space that we're desperately trying to work out of, right? Because so much of trauma is rooted in these deeper layers in our mental, emotional, spiritual. Ayurveda looks at it that way. There's, I don't know. I don't want to get like overly textbooky on this, but this idea, the principle of kapha, it enlivens structure and cohesion. So it's like the building blocks of our physiology, essentially. And trauma gets stored in those deeper places, in those building blocks. So our physiology finds a way to push those things down, because we still have to live, right? We still have to be present with what's going on in our life. And trauma can definitely, hugely be a thing that distracts, not even distracts us, but consumes, depending on how severe it is. And I feel like that's essentially, or 100%, why we're getting this value of releasing and letting go, and not being afraid to do so, because there are new beginnings on the horizon. Again, threshold is the overarching energy. No matter where you're at, what you've been through, I'm hearing this like you're going to have a fresh start. It's going to be okay. You will begin again. And sometimes we forget that, especially when we're rerunning those tapes in our mind over and over and over again, because they essentially are real. You know, the way our body stores the trauma, the way we receive, the way we understand, it's hard not to. We have been picking up this energy, take it or leave it, whether it resonates or not with you, but in the collective, where past karma, past people are coming up in order to rework things. And so some of these traumas we can't avoid, right? Some of these people want to come back in, want a fresh start. They want to, essentially what it's looking like is have their, I can't pick these cards up. Essentially it's like have their own success. Well, you know, this happened with the collective, but I got X, Y, and Z out of it. So now I'm going to try to figure out if there's a new entry point. And it's forcing you to really get clear on what you want, right? Do you want to allow this back in? And sometimes when we are stuck in that trauma, or when we are feeling very overwhelmed by the circumstances, or not secure in ourselves, trauma, reliving that experience can definitely keep us in that state of anxiety, fight or flight, where even if the thing is not happening in that moment, someone coming back around for their own motives, their own gain, when we're not feeling loved, validated, heard, empathized with, understood, that's like really triggering, for lack of a better word, right? That is actually what brings up all those emotions, all those feelings again. And it looks like as you're kind of creating boundaries from these people, from these situations, people are popping up lately. Well, it's a full moon. Full moons bring out all the crazy. It's a full moon in Scorpio, and that definitely is all about cycles. As I was saying, like death and rebirth, essentially. It's transformation. It's the different cycles that play out in our life. And it's, like, here's the thing. What I love about this, easier said than done, but what I do love. Well, I want to take it back a few steps and say that, like, even though I want to remind you of your power in this moment, in this time, that is something that I feel very strongly from your energy today, is that, like, you can feel the weight, you can feel the burden of your experience, of what you've gone through, but you can also, like, you've been exuding strength. You've been exuding strength in a way that I think is a little bit scary for some people, i.e. Queen of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. But this is actually like someone who, okay, well, now all these people show up, right? And that's how our readings have kind of been playing out on this channel. There's new conversations about you. New conversations are happening specifically because of the changes that you have made. And it does look like you have some people who have been watching you and they want to reconnect. And this is like, I'm not saying you're manifesting this. I don't necessarily get this vibe, because this to me feels like you're really focused on what your, not even your next steps, but what your future looks like. You're at this space where you're not really even trying to go back or trying to heal whatever some of these dynamics are. That's what it feels like. Like, this threshold feels like you have closed the door because of how they show up, because it's all about their own success and own victory, because of the offers that they give you are only with them in mind and not necessarily about you. And I feel like in some ways this is kind of about that power that you've been exuding, right? Where it's like, now they want a piece, now they want a taste. But this is also kind of what Spirit is highlighting for us. One of the values is when we have a break from these relationships, these dynamics, and they come back around, we're better able to see the disconnect. We're better able to see whether it's lies, whether it's stories that are told to us, whether it's the way they gaslight or try to, point the finger, blame, project whatever it is onto you. It's hurtful, it's painful, and you know that. The death card, not, sorry, I don't know what the stipulations are for YouTube, but this value of the cycles, this is Pluto energy, this is Scorpio energy, this is when we are ready to, like, it hurts, it's painful, it's never fun, endings are not fun, unless we're like so over it, which there kind of is that underlying theme in the collective right now, which I feel like is actually super beneficial to all the bullshit that is happening, because we are kind of over it. You're not as interested in re-engaging with these people, with these situations that really, excuse me for the mic, that really are just maybe not on your side, on your team, or left you hanging in a time where it was hard. Not only left you hanging, but made you feel bad about yourself and who you were. Yeah, part of this is about secrets. That's been coming up a lot as well. And for maybe only for some of us, it will resonate. There, messages, communication, I'm seeing this. Okay, so we're getting 2 8s over here. The way that people are coming back, unfortunately or not, don't hate me for saying, I love this. Don't hate me for saying this. What I was going to say, the way that they're coming back is it's like, they're trying to say, well, it wasn't me, it was them, trying to divulge like someone else's bad behavior. As I was saying that, this card is on the bottom of the deck. It's not me, because it's not you. It's not you. Everybody's trying to get, like, it's almost like a race to the finish is what I'm hearing with certain people. And this is all starting to bubble up. It might not be this week, because I still see you in this space of like aligning with what you want to be different. That's, like, you're looking at these dynamics, you're looking at these situations. I think you're doing a lot of scrutinization about how you want stuff to not only look, but what do you want it to feel like? What do you want this new space to actually be for yourself, where you don't have to deal with all the drama? And unfortunately, it's not easy. We have to feel our feels. Don't be afraid of your anger. I'm hearing some of that is just righteous anger. Sometimes we have to feel it. Sometimes we have to express it, because that gets it out of our being, right? That is actually like, if we're just holding it up, we're restricting, we're limiting ourselves. And essentially in Ayurveda, it talks about how that restricts our prana, the ability for life force to flow. And we don't want that, right? Like, you've been in enough of these angry dynamics that you do not need to hold on to it anymore. And you're almost there, right? You're almost there. You're pushing through, and in a really big and powerful way. I'm not saying it's magically taking away all the BS, because I think that's hard to do. We live with that, the trauma, unfortunately. But our brain also finds new pathways. Our brain is malleable, so that means that we don't have to be stuck there. Yes, it can be a part of our experience, but we can also choose to invest in the beauty, in the creativity, in the power of not only life, but the human physiology and its ability to transcend even the hardest pains, sufferings, which that's exactly what you're doing through this experience. So thank you so much for your time, energy always. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I would love to hear some feedback. I hope you found messages that resonated here. Definitely drop comments below if you did. I love to hear. I love to say, hey, what's going on? I so appreciate all the love, all the support that you bring to the channel. No, I'm sending it back your way.